Uncensored, the truth about money. Good day, everybody. How is everyone doing? Welcome to another episode. Welcome back to Uncensored, the truth about money. We're still continuing from where we left off last week. We're still talking about offshore investments, right? So this is episode number 11, part 2 of offshore investments. As per usual, I'm with our financial expert, our financial advisor, Pratamza. Pratamza, how are you doing?
No, I'm all good, my brother. How are you doing?
I'm good, man. So, let's continue where we left off from last week, Nebra Times, still on the offshore topic. So, what I would like to know is what are some of the challenges that one might face when they want to directly invest offshore, and what sort of procedures do they need to follow?
All right. So the challenges that one may face is not knowing, all the information or getting all the information that they need to basically make their investment successful in the foreign investments. Yeah. So that's number one. That being said, one needs to do their research as much as possible so that they don't get caught off guard. Because with that being said, you're not just investing, let's say, in rands, but now you are going into, let's say, pounds, you're going into euros, you're going into dollars, and obviously you need to know, how those currencies perform before going offshore. But with that being said, investing in emerging markets, there's more risks with you investing in emerging markets. Like, for example, South Africa is an emerging market, like Brazil as well as like emerging markets as well. So with that being said, they are very volatile because of political unrest. The economy is not yet stable and so forth. So yet when you invest in like developed markets like America, China, Britain as well, with those markets, they're much more stable as opposed to your emerging markets. So now the procedure, of you opening or investing offshore directly. So number one, you need to open an offshore bank account. So that's done through most financial institutions. They do offer the service. So you then, Uchuna, will go to, let's say, a Standard Bank and say, listen, guys, I want to open a foreign bank account. So Standard Bank will basically open an account for you through the Isle of Man, where your funds will be kept either in pounds, euros, or dollars, and you'll be then exposed, to the different types of investments that you can have offshore. So the nice thing about that is that when Ujunia invests, let's say, in dollars, he gets his returns in dollars. And when you want to cash out your dollars, they can invest them directly or deposit them directly into your, dollar-based account. So those are some of the channels that you can pursue when you want to invest directly offshore.
Everything that you have said, like it's it's making us very much interested in putting our money overseas and taking the risk, right? So what I would like to know is how much tax is charged on your investment when you're investing offshore?
Right. So how much tax is charged on your foreign investment? So
yes,
if you so if you use like rands to invest in like offshore investments, so with foreign dividends and interests, so those are included in your taxable income, right? And those are taxed at an effective rate of 20%. So basically what that means is that if Junior, let's say, invested R1 million, and a year later, Junior gets within the foreign investment gets 1.3 million. So of the 300,000, you'll be charged capital gains tax on that. So yeah, so you do get taxed on your foreign investments. So what SARS also does is that some other things to consider when investing offshore is so with the first million. So what SARS says that Uchuna has R1 million to invest offshore without declaring or getting a tax clearance, right? But it's not just limited at that million. So you can apply to up to another 10 million. Obviously, with that, you need a tax clearance from SARS. So those are basically some, tax information around investing offshore.
So you are charged by SARS, not where you have not the country where you have invested your money.
Yeah, 100%. So you're only charged, obviously, on the interest that you do accumulate, and also the dividends. So you obviously have to declare those when you're doing your annual tax returns.
So speaking of tax, what is meant by a tax haven?
Right. So basically, what tax haven means is generally that, like, people, if you associate haven, with layman's terms, it's a nice place and
Yeah.
rosy and everyone's
Sure.
happy. So a tax haven is generally an offshore country that offers foreign individuals and businesses with little to no tax liability. So basically, what they do is that they do not charge you any tax on your investments, or you don't pay any tax, for example. And then people will be like, okay, but how do those countries then make money? So they make money obviously from the capital that you that you put into their bank accounts, into their investments as well. So that's how they make money. So they don't make any money from let's say charging you tax on your investments. And then, there's a list of some popular tax haven countries, which includes like the Bahamas, the Bermuda, the British Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, the island of Jersey. Hong Kong is also a tax haven as well. I mentioned the Isle of Man earlier on, and another popular one is Mauritius. So all of these basically, they are tax havens for individuals to basically, pursue their foreign investments in.
What is a feeder fund?
All right. So a feeder fund is an investment fund which does almost all of its investments through a master fund via a master feeder relationship. So it's a situation similar to a fund of funds, except that the master fund performs all of its investments. So basically, what it means is that Junior, as the investor, invests into a feeder fund, right? And then behind the feeder fund, right, so what they do is that they perform all the investments on behalf of Junior. So they've got leverage, let's say in foreign currencies, as an example. So they'll do all the investing for Junior, as opposed to Junior going, directly offshore. So it's more of an indirect type of investment, as opposed to the direct one that we spoke about earlier on. So Udrina basically will approach like a company like Stanlib and say, listen, guys, I need to, have some offshore exposure. I want to invest offshore. So what they'll do is that they'll give you, let's say, unit trusts, that have some exposure to, whether it's dollars, whether it's pounds, whether it's euros, and they perform all the, the foreign investments for you on behalf of, obviously, Uchunia as the investor. So yeah, a feeder fund is basically that it performs all the investment purposes on behalf of the principal investor.
How is this different from a unit trust?
So they're pretty much the same. I'm a feeder fund and unit trust. So they basically perform, the same platform, the same purpose. And that being said, is that with feeder funds, as I said, that they manage all the investment for you, and with similar to unit trust as well, is that they group a bunch of investments for Junior and offer you, like just one platform to invest through.
So I've noticed that FNB has a feature that's called save in foreign currency. Do you mind just explain?
Yeah.
Do you mind just explaining what that is, Pratamza?
Yeah, so that's what I said. Like most of these banks now, they make it easier for people to invest offshore because they've seen that, a lot of people are not really confident with what's happening currently in South Africa,
Mm-hmm.
politically, as well as where the economy is going. So a lot of people have actually been taking most of the of their monies offshore. Like I remember when I was still working in one of the banks. I think in 1 month, like something like 64 million rand was just taken out in the space of a week to offshore. So banks are now seeing that let's be innovative and actually provide a means for a means for people to actually get some offshore exposure. So with the FNB one, it's basically so you open like an FNB global account,
Okay.
and you can start saving and transacting in 9 foreign currencies without having to go to an offshore specialist. So obviously that gives you access to your US dollars, your euros, your British pounds, savings, and obviously you get charged like $20 per for the card, per annum. So yeah, so basically it's literally you having exposure to offshore investments through your local bank, through one of the accounts that they have.
Do you know if other banks have this feature, or is it only just FNB?
Yeah, I know Standard Bank actually also has this feature as well. I think it's called Switch. So
Okay.
you open a virtual, yeah, it's like a virtual wallet where you can literally, start saving in euros, pounds, or US dollars. So as I said, that but the trend is all around. So if one bank opens it, the others will basically copy it, or the other ones might have it already. So yeah, most major banks should have this sort of feature.
So thank you so much, Pratamza. Yeah, we've come to the end of our show. We've come to the end of episode 11, offshore investment part 2. Thank you so much for listening, guys. There's a lot of information that has been shared here, a lot of valuable information that will help you in the future or whenever, as we said when we started with investment, you have to start investing now. You have to start saving now, So please don't forget to follow us on Instagram, uncensored_the truth about money.